Welcome to episode 7, ladies and gentlemen, to the Swoosh Hoops podcast. I'm going by EricL. We got Amari in the building. What's good?
What's good, everybody? What's up?
Also, Ernest, he's on his way. Actually, he's on right now. Let me just put him in right now.
Nice.
Yo,
we're live.
What's up, guys? What's up? Sorry for the lateness. Was out running, doing some errands and stuff like that. But we back, ready for episode 7.
Yep.
Sure.
And we got a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah, a lot of.
Yo, Ernest, you on mute?
Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry guys.
All right, you good?
Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of drama this week, as we know. The Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan drama. And that's a story within itself. That could be a whole episode, right? With the Chicago Bulls, back in the 90s, the whole dynasty era, and then Boston Celtics drama. Marcus Smart calling out, the two best players on the team, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And power rankings are always drama, and what teams have we been impressed with? Also,
the Robert Sarver investigation.
Seriously, the Phoenix Suns, like, whoa, man, like another Donald Sterling, and
It's worse. It's worse.
It's worse.
It's a lot. It's worse.
It's worse.
It's worse.
Because you got employees and within the organization speaking out about what's been transpiring. So
yeah, it's not really a good look right now. Especially, I just feel like, and we'll kick off the show. I know we're live, but I just want to just touch on this point really quick. It's just really sad to see, because this issue tells me that he's not the only owner, because Donald Sterling, obviously, right, that was egregious and disgusting within itself. But now you had Robert Sarver flying under the radar. This has been going on for 17 years.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that tells me that there's other owners in multiple leagues, not just the NBA, who have the same mindset, who think
the NFL,
this way.
Dan Snyder.
Right,
but
exactly.
Let me ask you guys: are you guys surprised though?
No, because we've heard rumblings about his behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's I'm not surprised that like this came out. I'm just like I'm not even surprised. I'm curious to know, like, who else is out there, because I know there's a lot of other owners who are now probably trying to clean up their mess, and they're trying to do damage control or what may have you. Right, because like eventually, like, their time is coming too, right? So it's like at some point, like, the world needs to understand that racism, sexism, mistreating people in the workplace, workplace or out of the workplace, you don't treat human beings like human beings with respect and dignity. It's never good for any business. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care if it affects you indirectly or directly. It's never good. And we as a society, as a country, as a people, need to understand that the ways of the old is no longer. Like, this is not something that, is swept under the rug, or, this is normal society. Like, no, man, like, you're not going to sit there because you sit on your high horse and you can talk to people the way you talk to them and treat them the way you just want to treat them and not fear any repercussion from that. So yeah, I'm glad it finally got out. It took a little too long for it, but I hope now this puts a notice on all the leagues and the league offices and the league officials to be like, we need to investigate everybody. There needs to be a standard. There needs to be a standard for everybody. There needs to be protocols for everybody. There needs to be a system. Like, what is the HR makeup for each league, right? And for each team. So I say that to say this, and we just have to do better as a people, and those who continue to belittle and continue to live a lifestyle that they think they're superior than others and they could get away with talking down with people. It's not going to fly, man. And we need to put a stop to that. And everyone needs to be treated equal, male or female, women or man, needs to be treated with the same exact energy and the same exact expectation and fairness, regardless of color of skin or gender. Like, we need to do better as a people, because this excuse my language, this shit is disgusting. It really is.
And especially now with social media, things that get out, things that get spread, and news cycles can go and spread around easy like fire. So future players see this, future free agents see this, and now they look at the organizations and like, oh, do I really want to go there?
Yep, Devin Booker to the Lakers confirmed.
Players see this, and it's not a good look for the organization.
Listen, I can probably tell you now, and I know we touched on DeAndre Ayton in the last episode, a couple episodes ago, about not getting his extension. I don't think he probably wants to even go back now after all this. I won't be surprised if he's just like, hey, you know what? I don't need the extension from you guys. I would rather just test free agency and sign elsewhere and not deal with this drama, because it's a lot of drama. It's a lot of drama.
And mind you, guess who's been involved with those two big
Chris
Paul, Donald Sterling, and now Robert Sarver.
Wow. Crazy.
And he's the president of the Player Association.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Isn't it a coincidence? And I just find it crazy that, like, right before the show started, Eric and I, we was talking about, like, the whole DeAndre Ayton situation, and, like, soon as he didn't get his money, it became like a domino effect, because before we heard rumblings about it, like, just it was real quiet. Obviously, it wasn't as loud as it is now, but, like, today it was just like bam, 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 like, just news after one another. And, like, there's been a couple of memes on Twitter, like, DeAndre Ayton not getting his money, and then this happened, you know, like.
Yeah, man. It's
according to Adrian Wojnarowski, he posted not too long ago, the NBA's now investigating the whole the Suns and Robert Sarver.
Yeah,
so it's gonna take time for the investigation, but you best believe there's gonna be some swift action and swift penalties coming out of this investigation.
Yeah, he will get the same treatment as Donald Sterling. He will be probably banned, be forced to sell a team.
Larry Fitzgerald, let's go.
Yeah, you know. So, I just hope there is an outcome out of this where everyone benefits and everyone is healed from all the hurting and the stress, and, you know, they're compensated somehow. You know, just something, because, like, it's hard. You'll never forget what people tell you. You know, like, you never forget how they make you feel and when the words that they say. So, I just hope this gets fixed, man, and throughout all the NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, soccer, football, just everywhere. You know, gymnastics,
the Olympic
with that whole, you know, the Olympic committee, like all of it, the whole sports spectrum needs to change. It needs to understand that racism and sexism, there's no place for it, and everyone needs to be treated equally as such. Like, we can't keep moving this way.
Yeah, most definitely. So we go as we segue to another hot topic of the week, the Scottie Pippen drama. So Scottie Pippen, he has a memoir coming out next week. What's the name of that memoir?
It's hold on. Sorry, guys. I should have this information.
But in the memoir, he talks about how Michael Jordan was selfish, this and that during the entire
his memoir's called Unguarded, by the way.
Unguarded. Okay. During the Last Dance documentary, how everything revolved around Michael Jordan, how Michael Jordan didn't want young players to label LeBron James as the GOAT. That's why he came out with the documentary.
We lost Armani for a second, but he'll be back. He's having some technical difficulties.
Yeah. So Scottie Pippen coming out with his memoir, saying that how during the whole documentary he got paid more, and no one else got paid during the whole documentary. He was labeled as selfish.
Yep.
All the stuff, and to me, I'm on the side of Michael Jordan. Here's why. It's not Michael Jordan's job to look after other people's pockets. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And on top of that, he gave Scottie Pippen praise throughout the whole documentary.
Yeah, he did.
And on top of that, he was like, he even goes on quote on saying, and I'm gonna misquote it. Please forgive me. He's saying that without Scottie Pippen, I wouldn't be the player that I want to be.
Yeah,
during those years.
Here, and I think the issue that some people take is that Michael Jordan already acknowledged that without him, he doesn't win the 6 rings. That's clear as day. But a lot of the Jordan stands out there kind of forget that, and they just think 6-0, 6 MVPs. That's all he's done,
no wrong,
and he has an unblemished record, in the NBA. And it's just like we have to be honest here. Like, as great as Michael Jordan is, Michael Jordan never won a championship. He never won a championship without Scottie Pippen and without Phil Jackson. Kobe Bryant, almost the same. Never won a championship without Phil Jackson. Like, it is what it is, and that has to be etched in stone and attached. Like, we have to stop acting like Jordan was this perfect player that never did no wrong in anyone's eyes. Like, I get it. He is the GOAT. He is, or one of the GOATs, because in my personal opinion, you can't have an undisputed GOAT. There are errors to me that, you have the GOAT of that era, but overall, you can't have a GOAT. I think that's just asinine to think. But at the end of the day, I agree with you in terms of Michael Jordan. His responsibility is not to look at the pockets of the other players. Like Scottie can't put that on Mike. Like you signed the contract.
You signed the contract.
The owner told you, Scottie, do not sign this contract because I do not do negotiations in the middle of deals. So if you rather wait until the offseason or I think it was the following offseason, you'll have a bigger deal. But from Stephen A. Smith's point, because he explained this on First Take the other day, I believe it was yesterday, that Scottie had saw players getting hurt, from the NFL and other leagues, and coming for where he's come from, which I totally understand, because I understand what that life is like. Like, you see this money and you're like, man, this could change my family like right now. And I get it. There. Right, and I get it, but there's consequence to your actions too, right? Like, so now you were the 6th highest paid player on the team, right? You weren't the first nor second, you were the 6th, right? Because you took that deal. You can't be upset at Michael. Even Michael told you not to take that deal. He explained that in the Last Dance. Now, the issue I have with MJ, and this is where I feel like Scottie made a point, was Scottie was like how he felt like he was a prop, and Jordan kind of used them to kind of, portray this image of this image of him being this super icon that's invincible. And the years that Jordan did not play on the Bulls, and he talked about Scottie not wanting to go in the game when Phil Jackson set up a play for Kukoc to
that
take
was a playoff game, mind you. It was a playoff game.
The stuff that Jordan, like, that stuff didn't have to be in there, and I get how, like, the story is supposed to connect everything, but I felt like you didn't have to put that in there, and that kind of diminished the image of what we looked at Scottie Pippen. Like, yo, like, you really didn't go into the game because you thought, like, because you felt like you were the best player. Like, this is a team game. Like, the best player doesn't always take the last shot. You know what I'm saying? So, welcome back, Amani.
Welcome back.
I always felt that Jordan didn't have to necessarily put that piece in the documentary, because Jordan did not play during those times. So, like, you can't sit there and kind of like paint this picture of Scottie because he didn't want to get in the game and all this stuff. But you weren't there. This had nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? So the same way,
the team, so he doesn't have that right to, like, portray that on Scottie Pippen.
Right. So
that
like
could be more like on Phil Jackson or
But
coach.
Let me ask this question though. But as a fan, even though you're like a fan of MJ and the Chicago Bulls, because I feel like that's how
I suffered through those years. All right.
Like most people were. Like my mom, she was a Jordan fan, but she was also a '90s Bulls fan. You know what I mean? So like as a fan, and MJ, let's just say if MJ deletes that out the documentary, like would you be okay with that? You know what I mean? Like,
I see what you mean because here's the thing. Like,
okay, go ahead.
I don't. Yes, as a fan, you want to know like the ins and outs of what happens behind the scenes and everything, and yeah, you appreciate those kind of moments to kind of see how things culminate and come together, and what were the issues behind this, or what was the success behind this. But my thing is how it was portrayed. I can't listen. Do I necessarily agree with Scottie did? Hell no. Like I don't agree with Scottie did. You don't in a playoff game, you don't get upset that the last play to take the last shot is not drawn up for you because you think you're the star. That is ultimately ridiculous, and that should be a no tolerance thing when it comes to team basketball, right? But at the same time, this was a Michael Jordan documentary, and it was called The Last Dance, who technically was a documentary on the Chicago Bulls' last run, not the dynasty. Of 91 to 98. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like it was The Last Dance. And I get they were telling a backstory of how The Last Dance became, right? But like those 2 years, bro, you weren't in the league, man.
And the second year, in the second year he came back late March.
Right. And Scottie Pippen did mention in the memoir that Jordan, when he retired, originally he retired right before the season started.
Yeah, me and Armani was talking about the same thing.
The Bulls didn't have a chance to sign any free agents to react and be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like we're losing the best player in the league. Like you didn't give them enough time either to kind of figure things out for their team. Like if you were such a team player, right? Like, and I get it. Like that retirement is a selfish decision. It has to be, right? Like because you need to understand for yourself, like mentally, am I in it? Physically, can I continue? Like that's all a selfish a decision. It's not a bad one, but like at the end of the day,
you gotta look out for your health, your own health being as an athlete.
Yeah,
your own mental aspect.
Because he also mentioned it too, like around that time. Remember, his father got gunned down. And
he got killed during that time.
He was facing the whole gambling issue too.
Right, and I can't and I can't necessarily judge Michael or critique him on this decision because I don't know what he was going through, what his mind was going through at the time. But from the outside looking in, without knowing that information, it looked super suspect. Like, why would you retire right before the season started, knowing that they couldn't sign any free agents during that time frame because the season was about to start literally 2 weeks later?
And on top, there was rumblings about how David Stern at that time was trying to suspend Michael, and there was some deal that
there was some things. Listen, at the end of the day, you couple, obviously the tragic death of his father. You don't want to minimize that effect because Michael was very close to his father. Like he was closer to his father than he was to his mother.
He was there like every
game championship. So I know how hard it was for MJ. Right, yeah. I know how hard it was for MJ. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like it was Scottie and Mike was a love-hate relationship. It was like I don't necessarily like mess with you as a person, but like as a player, you're my dog. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a weird dynamic. It's kind of hard to kind of like figure out because Scottie's not in the right all the way. He has some wrongdoings as well. And Jordan I'm not going to say wrongdoings, but he has some questionable decisions that he has made to kind of paint this picture of Scottie. And listen, over the years, the most recent years, Scottie hasn't been the most, those who are out there know what's, seeing Scottie Pippen lately and the things he's said and all that stuff. But listen, you got to take take it with some seriousness because these guys were in the locker room and they know what was going on. I just feel like at the end of the day, both were in the wrong. Both could have handled things differently. Both are also in the right in certain aspects too in their decisions. It's just at this point, it's like, you know what, man, it is what it is. Let bygones be bygones. We could disagree. We could agree to disagree, and that's just it. You know what I mean? So that's just my take on it.
All right, so we go from one drama off the court to on the court drama with the Boston Celtics. So Celtics, they're 3-5. They have major problems on defense. Back on, I believe it was Tuesday, Marcus Smart after the game
when they blew the 19-point lead against the Bulls.
Yes, against the Bulls, they had a 19-point lead, lost by 14, which is still amazing to me how they did that. He goes on a media tirade saying that he could only do so much on being on the corner three. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown need to learn how to pass the ball. This and that.
I'm gonna read the exact quote.
Read the exact quote, please.
From Marcus Smart. He said the other day. So Marcus Smart. Jeez.
Making the cookies at 375.
Sorry, guys.
No, you good.
You good.
So, and I quote, "I can only do so much standing in the corner. Everybody's scouting report is make Jason and Jaylen try to pass the ball. They don't want to pass the ball, and that's something they are going to learn." So clearly, he's saying they're ball hawks. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
We hold them accountable, straight up.
Yeah.
Listen, There's more.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to add also, this is from Marcus Smart. "I would just like to play basketball. Every team knows we're trying to go to Jason and Jaylen. Every team is programmed and studied to stop Jason and Jaylen. I think everybody's scouting report is to make those guys pass the ball. They don't want to pass the ball."
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
All right, I'll go.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
As a teammate, I get you holding your stars accountable. And this kind of reminds me of kind of like a Kobe and Shaq thing without like a lot of the detail, a lot of the buffer that's been going on. It's crazy when you got.
That is the wrong thing, my guy.
That
is the wrong thing, Sean. That is the wrong thing, Sean, for sure.
But, yo, shout out to Sean, man. But it's crazy when
you get the worst defense in the league. You worry about shot selection. Come on,
right.
It's way bigger than you got to worry about.
Amanda, before you go, really quick, it's funny Marcus Smart says that because his shot selection is terrible.
Yep.
Is his, I've seen plenty of nights where I've watched the Celtics play and he'll just
take a questionable shot.
Yeah, he'll just come up, dribble, some like he's James Harden, and then he'll just take a 32-foot 3-point jump shot, and it'll be
like that's the game, man.
Right,
that's the game,
and it'll be like maybe 21 seconds to the shot clock, and he's taking that shot, right? Like, and you have to also think of the dynamic, and this is why I think Marcus Smart is wrong. You have to think of the makeup of the team. They're not very good defensively if you look at the makeup of the team. Dennis Schroeder is not a defender. Dennis Schroeder, at least this year. Last year on the Lakers, he was a pretty good point of attack defender. Mm-hmm. But now, because he's on a prove it deal and he's trying to recoup the money he's lost, you have a 2-guard backup. Well, you have a 2-guard point guard matchup that are totally like focused in on just scoring the ball. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't work because you have 2 guys who can do that for you. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, I'm as a Laker fan, I love to see Boston in shambles.
As a Laker fan, I love it.
It makes my day.
Like, come on now.
It makes my day.
We all
it's another Eastern Conference team. It's another Eastern Conference team for me in shambles.
Okay? just another stepping stone. I feel like. But like pretty much what I'm trying to say is like you got 2 alpha dogs on the team, and when Kyrie was there, well, when he wasn't there, it was kind of like it was Jason Tatum's team, So Jaylen Brown kind of did the offseason work to work on his game, and now you could put Jaylen Brown up there with Tatum. Just the thing is that Jaylen Brown gives you defense as well too. So like I was kind of going through the stats of each individually of what they did the past like couple games. I'm gonna even go further before Marcus Smart made that comment. And out of the 2, Jason Tatum has the one that's been like with a broken efficiency. So like in the game against Orlando, he had 14, shot 4 for 16, had 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Chicago, he had 20, 8 for 22, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
8 for 22.
8 for
My
22.
God.
Oof.
The game against
Also-
Washington, 27 points, 10 for 32, had 15
Oof.
points and 3 assists. Washington
32 shots.
32 shots. Like what? And remember the opening against the Knicks, he shot 7 for 30.
right.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I didn't even get to that, you know. and I'm gonna just leave it at that. And then Jaylen Brown, like his looks a little bit more smoother, like more nicer, you know. So he had in a game against Orlando, he had 28, shot 10 for 17, 5 and 3. Game against Chicago, 28 as well, 10 for 18, 7 and 3. The game against Washington, 34, 14 from 24. So you get where I'm going with this, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I get what Marcus Smart is doing by, you know, and by all means holding the team as accountable. And I feel like that was something that he might have approached them about in the locker room, and it was just like we gonna continue to do what he's doing. But you know, what's the number one way to get the league and get the team's attention? Tell it in the media. So that's exactly what's going on. So do I have a problem with what he did? Yes and no, but you got to find out some way.
The thing is, Marcus Smart, he's a vet. He is the heart and soul of that team.
I agree.
So I'm pretty sure he already addressed it in the locker room right after the game, and was just like, I'm sure he told him, I'm just gonna say it, like, because I'm frustrated. Because Marcus Smart is not a guy that's a locker room disruptor or anything like that.
Right.
So
right.
I'm sure
had that on his back too when he came in the league.
Yeah. I just think, man, listen, ever since Jason Tatum put that Kobe Bryant jersey on, it's been downhill for him in that Celtic jersey, because it's not meant for him to wear that jersey. It's meant for him to be
Celtic wearing a Laker jersey.
It's meant for him to be purple and gold, and I'm just thinking, you know, the little Boston Leprechauns are putting a hex on Jason Tatum because he put on purple and gold. So Jason Tatum, come on home, man. You know where it's at. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's definitely concerning. Eventually, like, and Eric, I'll let you go after I say this comment. It's starting to feel like Boston, or the two between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, are becoming a younger version of CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard. Like, you have two good offensive efficiency players.
I would even throw Bill and Wall in there.
Yeah, that's a really good one too.
That's a good
Bill
comparison.
and Wall's a good one too, because you have two like explosive, you know, I wouldn't say superstars, but they're stars, and then you have a star and an all-star who can get any bucket, but it doesn't equate to wins, or it equates to you know, a second round exit. You know what I'm saying? So it's oh, come on, Jamal. Jamal, I'll read your comment. Let's start with Marcus Smart is the wrong messenger. He's been a catalyst of taking bad shots and doing too much. Actually, was there
exactly
and Gordon Hayward. No, Jamal,
he's right.
Jamal,
right.
you have a point. I said this. Marcus Smart takes a ton of bad shots every single game. He will pull up from 30 like he's KD or Steph, and it'll hit all backboard, and he'll do it more than once. So I totally agree with you, but also you got to admit he is the vet, and he is the voice of that team. It's just a weird tandem, man. Like, I don't know, that whole makeup is kind of just wild to me.
Pretty much what Eric and I was talking about before we went live. You know, like, I asked the question, like, did the Boston Celtics, they're kind of like in the same boat as the 76ers. Like, they were once top dogs of the Eastern Conference. Now they're just like either stuck in the middle or just like, you know, fighting for a playing position if it comes to that. The thing is, they just missed their championship window, you know, and now they're like in purgatory. They're stuck.
Yeah, they're a middle of the pack team who will only get, you know, marginable picks every single year, because they're either going to get knocked out the first round, the play-in, or the second round, whatever. They're not contenders. They don't have enough it's gonna like I said, it's a CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard situation almost between them two, and they may have to give up one or the other.
Yeah.
To kind of build around and get more assets, because right now it's not working. What happens to all those draft picks and all that, all those assets the Celtics had or Danny Ainge had? It didn't recoup to anything.
They didn't cash out. They didn't cash out when they were supposed to. So my thing about this Marcus Smart thing is that I don't have a problem with him saying it. It's just how he said it. It's like he said it out in the public, in the media. But also, my thing is that it's the building frustration for the last 3 years, 3-4 years.
Yeah, of course.
Because and also the fact that he's saying it out now with the new head coach.
Yeah.
And now with Brad Stevens, so that's the last couple of years also tells you something.
It's been, I'm sure the frustration has been stemming since then, since Brad Stevens, since the whole Danny Ainge era. Like it's been a thorn in his side for pretty much a while.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I hear I see on Twitter or just hear people talk, like a lot of Boston Celtic fans were not too happy with Jason Tatum's shot selection as well, because he's so, as people would say, like him learning from training with Kobe and all those years, like it's almost like Kobe's like telling him just to shoot, and that's what people are like kind of taking that from. It's like that's not the case. Yeah. And I just get the vitriol from Boston fans, and I get it, but I don't know if it works. Like I don't know if those two work.
Yeah, so it's it's gonna be a lingering problem for the entire season for them. I think they need to make a trade.
Yep.
For who? They need another scorer. I think they need another.
I think they need another big.
They need a big because Robert Williams is good.
Yeah.
I think he may be more of he reminds me of like a Montrezl Harrell type of player, energy guy.
A much bigger Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, right? Much more physical, get rebounds. Yeah. That's not kind of like the big you're gonna need to as your starting big to kind of be a contender at least. Because you need somebody that's gonna guard Giannis, man. He's gonna be in the East for a while. Yeah. You need somebody to guard KD. He's gonna be in the East for a while. Like you don't have players on that roster that can, one, be a stretch big that can, open up the floor a little bit. And you don't have the guards that can keep up with any of the guards in the East. Like Marcus Smart is great, but Marcus Smart is not your third option on the championship team.
All right, here we go with the trade rumors. Here goes Rumorville. Brown for Simmons. I think they need a guy to set guys.
I actually like that trade. I think that would make sense.
Yeah. The crazy thing is that Ben Simmons not going to make it out of. You thought he's going to make it out alive in Philly? He damn sure ain't going to make it out alive in Boston.
Oh yeah. But it does. Ben Simmons plays defense, man.
Yeah.
And they need defense.
Yeah.
And also with Jaylen Brown and Joel Embiid, and with those other guys in Philly.
Oh my God, that would be really, really good.
They give you more options. More options with Curry, with Brown, with Matisse Thybulle and the defensive end with Joel Embiid
for both teams. Yeah,
it is.
Both teams.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Sean for that. That was a really good trade. Suggestion. I think Brown for Simmons makes sense. I got to look at the contract situation and cap and see how it all folds. I'm sure they have to add pieces from both sides to kind of make it work, contractually work. But I like the fit. I think Jaylen Brown on the Sixers. That's not bad, man. It's not bad.
Be a team you don't want to see defensively.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So now we go from the Boston Celtics drama. We had power rankings earlier this week. So to ESPN, we're gonna go based on their power rankings. Let me just pull that up right quick. Should have that.
Yeah, I have it. I have it right here.
All right.
Yeah, I have it right here. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
So obviously well, go ahead, Eric. Let me go
All right.
last because
Okay.
you know what we'll do? We'll go down the list real quick and we'll give our opinion. So
Yeah,
obviously
I'll go down
we
the
got the
list.
Jazz. We got the Jazz at 1, right? Heat at 2, Nets at 3, Warriors at 4, Bucks at 5, Nuggets at 6, Knicks at 7, Sixers at 8, Bulls at 9, Lakers at 10.
Remember the last time we got on the air, we was a little concerned about the Bulls being late in the pack again. We felt like they should have been higher. You know, we think like over this past week, I definitely think, in my opinion, they should be higher.
Oh wow, John Wall and Andre Drummond find a way to bring them in high quality for cheap price. So wouldn't quit on the Jays together yet. I like John Wall on that team. It's just if John Wall is on that team, again, you have a scoring first point guard. I think they need a guard that can set them up. Drummond, I like. I think Drummond will work well. He's low maintenance. He rebounds. He can score under the basket. You know, he's a scrappy center. I like that. But John Wall is the big question for me. But go ahead, Amani.
Yeah, that was just only the one. Eric, I'm gonna let you continue. But I feel like the Bulls need to be higher.
Yeah, I think so too.
What we see from last week.
Especially, well, this is based on last week.
Yeah,
last week's results. So this week, Bulls have impressive wins at Boston. They came back from down.
They're going to be higher
in the third quarter.
Week. Yeah, they're going to be higher the next.
Yeah, they're going to be higher this the final week. I thought they should have won last night at Philly.
Yeah.
They should have. They should have. That was a blown opportunity. But they came out really lethargic and they were down very early. So listen, the Bulls have been really impressive. Like they've been really good. The Bulls though, we're gonna see the stretch now, what they're really about. And they need to be tested. They need to come down to earth a little bit. And I kind of want to see the adversity and how that team forms together. During those pressurized situations, because I think Chicago. Sean, we're gonna get to the Heat. Relax. I think Chicago is Chicago just needs to be tested. We haven't seen them play we have seen them play a playoff team, and when they did, they lost. Shout out to the Knicks for that win. They did.
Yeah, but it was
a back and forth game, right? It was a very close game, and losing to Philly without another with just Joel Embiid, I think they should have won that game. So you have to see the growing pains and see, are they taking care of the opportunities or taking advantage of the opportunities that they get in front of them when they don't have the opposing team's best player playing or the second best player playing? How are they responding to that? Are they putting their foots on people's necks? Are they really relishing in that moment and saying like, hey, like we have an opportunity to make some noise, let's do it? You know what I'm saying? I want to see what they do against competition. Like I want to see what they do when they play the Bucks this coming week. This coming, I think next week they play them. And I want to see what they do against the Nets. That's coming up very soon.
They got a West Coast road trip coming up.
Right. And yes, I want to see what they do against the Western Conference teams, because that's going to really see what the Bulls are about and where we kind of project them to be going forward.
Yeah. All right. So the Utah Jazz at number 1 at 5-1. This week they beat the Kings. They're at 6-1 right now. To me, right now, the Jazz, they have the vibe of the Milwaukee Bucks from 2 years ago. The regular season, they have the best record in the regular season, but in the playoffs, they come up always short. Short. So I think this year's will be a typical season for them. Regular season, they have a one of the best records in the West.
Yep.
Their defense is still up there. Rudy Gobert, talking about an early season MVP candidate. I'm looking on
Cap.
I don't see it, but they're solid. they're solid. I mean,
no, they're solid.
They're really solid. I just got to see.
Jazz has in my opinion, they have the most complete team in the NBA.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, listen.
Team.
Yeah,
the Jazz, they had some impressive wins. They had some impressive wins, right? They did lose to the Bulls. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, they lost to the
Right?
Bulls. Yeah, at Chicago.
But they beat the Bucks at Milwaukee, which was impressive. Um, that was really their. Honestly, I'm gonna take that back. That was really their only win. That was like, oh, you know. After that, they played the Thunder. They beat them. They beat the Kings. The Nuggets are hobbled. We know that. They beat the Rockets. They beat, you know what I mean? And they played the Kings twice. So favorable schedule. They have the Hawks today, and they have on Saturday the Heat. We're gonna see how legit they are. Again.
Oh, also Donovan Mitchell out tonight's game.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a. I mean, they're preparing for the Heat. I think that's what that is. So because they know that game's gonna be a dogfight. But I just again, I agree with you guys as far as the overall sentiment about the Utah Jazz. I just feel like they haven't played anybody where I'm like, okay, they're gonna be a legit contender in the West, and they're gonna give people problems. I don't see it right now. I gotta see it against like legit playoff competition.
All right, so at number 2, the Miami Heat last week 5-1. They're ranking at number 2.
Listen,
they beat the Dallas Mavericks handily Tuesday night. You got Boston coming up and then Utah coming up. Let me tell you something.
Before you get there, Eric, I need to go. I need to go down this list. I need to go down this list. So Miami, they've been really putting the defense on. Like they putting clamps on a lot of teams. Milwaukee Bucks, they beat 137-95. Magic 107-90. The Nets 106-93. The Hornets 114-99. The Grizzlies 129-103, and Dallas 125-110. The thing about the Heat that's impressive so far is that they're able to play two type of games as I'm watching them. They can play an up-tempo speed game where they can put points on the board, and they can play a lockdown defensive game where it's a low-scoring game. Like, I'm just like, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with, and I won't be surprised if they're coming out of the East this year. I still got the Bucks, borderline Nets. Obviously, it all depends on what Kyrie and everything going on with him. I just think you put those three players together, they got to come out the East. It is what it is. Like you never see talent like that. But the one, aside from Milwaukee, the one team that can shut it all down is Miami, in my opinion.
This seems to be is going to be a real problem in the East. They got the highest point differential in the entire NBA. 16.7, the plus 16.7 differential. That's far and away the best in the league. They, as Ernest said, they can play two types of games: the speed game, the run and gun game, and they can play clamp down defense. It's like they lead the league in points. They lead the league in points allowed, 98.9 points.
And on top of that, they're still missing a key piece to their whole team.
I know.
That's the crazy thing.
Oladipo hasn't even been playing, man. Like, oh my god.
That's the crazy thing.
Oh wow! Wait, we're talking about them right now.
Sean, relax, Sean. Remember what happened 2 years ago. Remember that, all right?
Let's go.
But no, big respect to the Miami Heat right now. They are looking like they're coming out the East right now. They're looking like, I would say, prohibitive favorite to come out the East.
And they got Jimmy as an early MVP candidate,
and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's still early, but they're clear. They're, to me, clear and beyond the best team in the league right now.
Yeah.
Yes, for
at
sure.
number 3, the Brooklyn Nets. Last week at 4-3, they're still trying to get their feet wet. Defensively, they're still not that good. But Kevin Durant, he's as usual, he's showing out. James Harden, he's starting to get back into a form a little by little. I know that we're going to talk about this later about the whole the scoring being down due to the new defensive rules.
Yeah,
James Harden hasn't been taking as much free throws as he did before.
I think with James Harden foul hunts a lot, and we've known this for years. He's taking advantage of the rule system, and you can't blame him for it because that's what great players do. They just find ways to get to the to get buckets, right? But more alarming for me with the Nets is, and I think they're gonna, regardless of Kyrie's there or not, they're gonna find their niche, right? They're gonna find their stride. I just think right now it's imperative that they miss Kyrie, like they need him.
Yeah, they need
because
him.
James Harden's not the same without him.
And they're like in the bottom, they're like the bottom 20s in scoring.
Right, exactly.
But we don't know how the whole Kyrie thing's gonna end up because the new mayor just got elected in New York. So depending on the whole mandates, if he's gonna change it or do some reconstruction of it, depending on how the new mayor does it, Kyrie might be back on there. We'll see. But also heard rumblings that the ownership of the Nets, they're not so highly keen on seeing if they can want to keep him. Heard that there's some rumblings about the Nets taking on Kyrie.
Yeah, Woj reported yesterday on what was that on NBA on ESPN that my boy Abe. Let's go Knicks. Shout out to Abe, man.
We'll talk about. We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna talk about them.
Yeah, shout out to Abe and shout out to he knows his stock stuff. So get on his Discord, guys. He knows a lot of stuff that could make you some money. So shout out to Abe and the John Gass firm. But back to the Nets, right? So here. Kyrie and Woj announced yesterday that the Nets were taking calls, like they were listening on calls on Kyrie Irving and in trade talks, right? I don't think they're ready to pull the trigger on Kyrie because I honestly feel like they know at the end of the day, if we can get Kyrie back, we're gonna win the chip. Like that it's clear as day. I think almost to know that, right? Like I get Giannis has gotten a chip off his shoulder and all that, but we got to be honest too. Without the injuries, we probably would see the Nets in the finals last year. Let's just call it what it is. They were down by 40 in game 2. You know what I'm saying? Without James Harden.
Like
right. It was definitely looking like a sweep. So, and again, like injuries happen. It's a part of the game. Respect to the Bucks. They did what they had to do. I just think the Nets are not going to really entertain a trade yet for Kyrie unless they know when the new mayor, like Eric Adams, right? That's his name.
Yeah,
right?
Eric Adams.
Gets into office and they see what that looks like with the mandates, and that's not until January 1st. So now you have a month before the trade deadline to figure out, okay, do we keep Kyrie or like based on what the mayor does for New York City, if he lifts the mandates, cool. Kumbaya, everything's good. Kyrie's back. But if not, they have a month window to kind of figure out what the hell they're going to do because they're not good enough to win the chip without Kyrie right now. They're not. Kevin Durant will be Kevin Durant, but can I rely on James Harden being James Harden? Like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So
there's always playoff James Harden.
And you look at the Nets don't have good bigs. Paul Millsap looked like he's only.
That's part of Harden's game of how he strives. You know what I mean?
Right.
Action with the big.
Right. And Paul Millsap looks like he can only play about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
No, he does, like, man.
I agree with you.
I'm not trying to be like, he doesn't look good in long stretches.
Yeah. And where's Nick Claxton? Where's Nick Claxton?
The issue with Nick Claxton, he's young. So he's still trying to develop. You can't depend on him as your starting center
right
in the finals. Like you just can't. Then you got obviously LaMarcus Aldridge, who again can only give you about 15, maybe 20 minutes, and then Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's hit or miss, right? Like he'll give you effort on one position, the next position he's like, what are you doing, bro? So like it's just they need Kyrie to compensate for what they're missing, right? Like they don't have bigs that can bang the boards and get rebounds and get blocks. They don't have that finesse bigs. So now to offset the rebounding and missed shots, you need Kyrie Irving to help you with that offense.
And on top of that, even if they get Kyrie back, they still need time to gel together. They still need time to get to know each other's game.
That was
Because
a big issue from
last year, they only played 7 games.
But hold on. But in that 7-game span, they were the best offensive team ever, just by offensive rating. So that sample size enough is alone for me to know, yeah, they're favorites to win a chip when those three are on the floor together. But when they're not, you kind of see KD's kind of carrying the load for everybody because James Harden is not who he is. Because obviously James Harden is hanging with little baby all offseason. He blamed it on the hamstring. The hamstring hasn't been right. Now it's the fouls. It's like he got to get it together. He got to take it seriously and get it together because at the end of the day, KD just wants to hoop, man. Kyrie just wants to hoop. James Harden want to be a celebrity. So you like but that's where the big three worked out because you had Kyrie and you had KD who all they cared about was getting buckets. I'm not saying James Harden doesn't care about getting buckets, but he has some other interests too that he does during the season. So when you play with those two guys, it offsets all your leisure time and all the mishaps that you have because you can come in and say, listen, I don't got to put up 30 tonight. I just got to pass the ball. And just by virtue of me passing the ball to them, I'm going to get 10 assists. So it flows easier for James Harden. Now you got to be the second guy. Now we need you to be that guy. And you can't. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do. And again, like I said, I believe in James Harden. I believe in Kevin Durant. I think, they'll figure it out with just them two without Kyrie. But it's looking very bleak. That's all I'll say.
All right,
for a championship.
Okay, so we're gonna have to move on from the Brooklyn Nets at number 4, and this team's coming in red hot. The Golden State Warriors at 5-1.
Yeah,
they won last night against the Hornets. They're 6-1 right now. To me, they're the best right now. They're the best team in the Western Conference. I mean,
I got a confession.
The Steph Curry, he's been balling. Jordan Poole, he's like a front runner for most improved player. Yeah. Damian Lee, he's making shots. You got Gary Payton II dunking on everyone.
Playing great defense.
Great defense. And on top of that, they got the best 3-point defense in the league. So this team, the Warriors, they getting off the game, they're getting out right off the bat, and they're gonna be a problem. And then you add on James Wiseman coming back and Klay Thompson coming back. I said it on one of the early episodes that they're a wild card team. They could be finished in the top of the standings. They could be in the bottom half of the playoff standings. This is why, because the shooting, the defense, Klay Thompson, and that whole nucleus of the championship experience with the Warriors could be they're a dangerous team, and I would not be surprised if they end up deep in making a playoff run.
Here's the thing, man. I got a confession. The Golden State Warriors, man. As a Laker fan, that's the one team
you do not want to play.
I don't want to see in the playoffs because here, especially if Klay is 90%, 85%.
And remember last year,
they get Wiseman back. So
last season's playing tournament.
Yeah, we barely beat them.
They almost took you out.
Yeah. So my thing is obviously, and we'll get to the Lakers when we get to their to the 10th power ranking. But I'm good. I have to see obviously when the other guys come back from from being healthy and all that stuff, and we'll discuss the concern of the health of this team. The Warriors are currently constructed. If you bring Klay back and everything, and the Lakers currently constructed, I see a tough series the Lakers getting out of beating that Warriors team.
Frustrating as a fan.
Yeah,
I will say
I have to give the Warriors props. The Warriors, and shout out to one of my close friends, John Gass. He all offseason he kept telling me the Warriors are going to be a contender, and I was like, get out of here. You're lying. I don't believe it. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. The Golden State Warriors will most likely be in the conference finals playing the Lakers or the Clippers, in my estimation, because I think Kawhi is going to come back and I think they'll make some noise in the playoffs. But it'll be one Pacific Division team in the finals next year. This year, rather it be the Lakers, Warriors, or Clippers. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so we go to the defending champs at number 5, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes, and Jamal, that this GSW team does remind me of 2015. But let's not talk 2015. They should have lost.
Yeah, that they were down 2-1.
Yeah, they should have lost. And remember, LeBron's second best player was Matthew Dellavedova. So,
oof. All right, so we're gonna go to the defending champs at number 5, the Milwaukee Bucks, at 3-4. Previously, they won last previous night, so they're 4-4 at 500. They're still missing the main guns, Drew Holiday, the Brook Lopez out with the back, Drew Holiday with the ankle, Chris Middleton, he's out with illness, and I could say this championship hangover for the Bucks.
Yeah,
but
they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. I'm not worried about them.
I'm not worried about Milwaukee. They're just going through the motions, and they got to get people back. Dante hasn't been back yet.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta. I'm not worried about Milwaukee. Giannis, I've learned to know they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
All right. So at number 6, the Denver Nuggets, 4-2. They lost at Memphis last night. They're 4-3 right now.
Which I'm surprised Memphis is not on the top 10 power rankings. Honestly.
Yeah, it's like
you can make a case for them. You can make a case for them to be on there for sure. But yeah, shout out to Denver. My concern is can they sustain this without Jamal Murray being out for so long? Mm-hmm. I don't know if they can.
And on top of that, Michael Porter Jr. is only shooting 30% from the field.
Right, so and he's got
to get it together.
Yeah, he's got to wake up because, the issue with Michael Porter Jr. is that this is why he needs Jamal Murray, because everyone was saying, "Oh, they'll be fine," because Michael Porter Jr. is going to take a next step. He's going to take a leap. And I told everyone I don't think so, because his skill set is predicated on catch and shoot. He does not put the ball on the floor.
No.
In this league with all this spacing, you need to be able to tap the rim and put the ball on the floor. If you ever watch the Denver Nuggets, when Michael Porter Jr. gets the ball, his immediate reaction is
to catch and shoot.
Right. That's his immediate reaction. He doesn't pump fake, or as soon as the defender closes out, he's passing it back out, because he's so predicated on catch and shoot. He does not put the ball on the floor, and that's going to be the Achilles heel for them going forward. If they don't get Jamal Murray back sooner. Jamal Murray is able to create open shots for him. When him and Jokic are cooking on offense, it's hard to guard them because Jokic is such a great passer, and he dominates the post so well. Teams have to collapse on him, but then also at the same time, you have Jamal Murray who can get 40. So this opens up the floor for Michael Porter Jr. to just shoot, because he's seeing weak defense coverages. So by the time he gets the ball, the team is, the defensive team is already rotating and swinging over to the other side. By that time, the ball's already out and he's open. It's an open three. So now it's kind of tough for him to kind of just get off. So
yeah. And on top of that, Jokic needs another option to pass out.
Yeah.
So if Michael Porter Jr. is going to keep on doing his catch and shooting, you're not going to give enough room for Jokic to operate in the paint.
Right.
So now,
though, Eric, you can finish your point. Go ahead.
Oh no. So I'm just saying that so Porter Jr. needs to work on his closeout. He needs to work on his dribble, coming up screens, pull up jumpers, all of that. He needs to work on his dribble and shooting off the dribble, because if he does that, it's going to open up more for Jokic, and also for Will Barton and also the rest of the guys to get more involved in the offense to help out Jokic, because right now it's all Jokic or bust.
Yeah, and since you brought up Will Barton's been like that second counterpart, or the second guy on the team that's been carrying weight, holding weight while Jamal Murray is out and while MPJ is going through his shooting slump. So, I know Will Barton for the past couple of seasons has been like very injury prone, but when he's on the court, he produces. And, even though like their record has been showing, they're not blowing teams out and stuff like that. They're in competitive games. Will Barton has been that second guy that Jokic can rely on, when the rest of the team is not putting up those numbers.
Right. But again, Will Barton is not consistent either.
Yeah.
So, listen, this is last week, and we'll get every week we'll talk about the power rankings and stuff like that. But the Nuggets, I see them slowly start to drop down in the standings as the season goes on. Really quick, Sean asked a question in the chat. What's the question is? What's your guys' opinion on Dame's struggles? Bad slump, or should we be worried? I think it's a bad slump.
It's a bad slump.
Yeah.
But I think there's a little grain of salt of like, let me play my way out of Portland. Not saying Dame is that guy. Not saying he's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
We have 9 years of Damian Lillard shooting the lights out. I just feel it's either maybe the offense isn't working, right? That Chauncey Billups is running. The systems and schemes, maybe defensive, maybe teams on the defensive end are studying him a lot more and it's making it difficult for him to shoot the ball. Like that the play last night because they lost to the Cavaliers last night.
Mm-hmm.
That possession at the end when he had the ball, Jared Allen played great defense on him.
Yeah, he knew the step back was coming. He didn't
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think teams are more keen to understanding his game and what he wants to do and taking that away. But for now, I'm going to say it's just a bad slump, and he'll get over it. And before we know it, Dame will be
Dame time.
Yeah. Dame. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So at number 7, Knicks. Last week you're at 5-1. But they lost their last 2 games, home to the Raptors and at Indiana last night.
Indiana, that was a baffling loss to me.
Okay, so what happened was Miles Turner made 7 threes last night. He made more threes than the Knicks team.
I did not watch the Knicks game last night. Apologies.
7 threes.
But yeah,
Had a couple
7
of
threes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean if he's gonna hit 7 threes, yeah, whatever, you can have it because you're not gonna do that every game.
Pacers shot lights out from 3 last night. They made 16 threes last night. That was the game right there. They lost the last 2 games. They're 5-3 so far, but a little concerning. And we did touch about this in these earlier episodes.
The defense, their transition defense has dipped tremendously.
There's a stat I saw that they lead the league in points of turnovers given up.
Yep.
And transition points given up.
Yep.
And on top of that, out of the 8 games, 5 of those games they gave up over 110 points.
That is remember what I said at the beginning of the year. I said my biggest concern with the Knicks is that they're going to be way better offensively, but defensively it's going to be some questions because they're not going to be the same team that they were last year because they gave up defense for offense this year. Now, is that going to equate to losing a lot of games? No, it won't. But they're going to have games where they're supposed to win and they lose because their defense just flat out wasn't that great. Like it is what it is. They're not going to be a top 2 defensive team like they were last year. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I predicted them to be middle of the pack defensive team, but their offense will be significantly better. I just don't know. Again, my issue with the additions were that Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier are not defensive players. They're actually they get picked on. They're really bad on defense. Mm-hmm. So now. How are you now? You have to match bucket for bucket, right? And listen, shout out to RJ Barrett. He's taking a leap. My God,
I told you about RJ Barrett.
He's looking really good, and that's a great sign for them. I just feel like, defensively, they in order for them to take the next step, I don't know if Kemba and Evan Fournier are the 2 that you want to be your front. Your backcourt defense. Excuse me, your backcourt defense.
Yeah, because the perimeter defense has not been good with
it has not.
It has not.
It has not. It has not at all.
I'm thinking so with them, it's more of I think they might need to make a move just for a defensive wing, just to like hold the fort on the perimeter defense because
Why
I
don't
think
they
the
sign Tyler? Why don't they sign what's his name? James Ennis.
James Ennis.
He's a free agent still. He's a good wing.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's a defensive wing. He can shoot the ball a little bit. You know, he played well with Orlando. I don't know why he's not in the league.
Yeah.
Or even go after Wes Matthews. Wes Matthews is still on the market.
Yeah.
Wes Matthews is a good defender,
Yeah.
and he can
Well,
shoot the three.
yeah,
You
we'll
know,
see. We'll see.
he's
We'll
a
see.
better Reggie Bullock. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, who can shoot and put the ball on the floor.
Anybody who leaves the Lakers becomes a better shooter. So
seriously, because as soon as they put a Laker jersey on, y'all don't
Yeah,
know how to
that's true.
shoot. It's
Mhm.
annoying.
All right, so they got
Pisses me off, man.
so they got 2 games this week. At Milwaukee Friday and at home Sunday versus the Cavaliers, who are no pushover. So
Yeah,
schedule's gonna
no
get a little
pushover.
tough. Schedule's gonna get a little tough in the next couple weeks for them. So hopefully Sid be back in his lab and just clean up his defense. Hopefully RJ gets more involved with the offense because he needs to get the ball out of in his hands more than Julius Randle, I believe. And I just think the the bench with Quickly Rose, they just need to how can I say play better. They got to play better.
Yeah.
But eight games for the season at 5-3, I'm not worried at all. They just
No, it's too early to.
Not because I'm on Knicks Twitter last night and they're like jumping off the cliff thinking about here we go again. They're 5-3. They lost 2 games in a row. Divas is not right. Of course not. But at the same time, it's 8 games of the season. You want to change your rotation? Like what are you gonna add? Grimes and McBride? They're rookies. Tim's not gonna play rookies in 45 minutes.
It sounds like Lakers Twitter because you know
Exactly.
after we blew that game against OKC, it was like trade everybody.
Exactly. They want to trade Julius Randle for picks.
Why did we pick up
Trade RJ Barrett. Like come on, stop it.
I
Trade Derrick Rose.
I literally had like a mini argument with someone on Twitter because they were like, you see how Kyle Kuzma's playing, and this is what we're missing. I'm like, what? Like what are we doing here?
Yeah, Kyle Kuzma low-key been throwing jabs at us. Just saying.
Yeah, he has, but it's fine. Listen.
You're right, Josh.
Kyle,
All right,
Josh, relax.
All right, so we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on
to the rest of the power rankings. All right, so number 8, the Philadelphia 76ers at 4-2. They won. All right, so they're 4-2 right last week.
Mm-hmm.
They won the past 2 games this week. Home versus Portland, home Chicago. They're starting to right the ship a little bit more as the season goes along. Joel Embiid, even though he's still struggling with that knee injury. He's game time decision last time I heard for tonight's game at Detroit.
Yeah, he's playing right now. I'm actually watching the game.
You watching the game? So he's playing right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just think they're getting back to what they do best is defense. Matisse Thybulle, he's been the main catalyst, and also Seth Curry, he's the main catalyst along with
Seth Curry.
Yeah, Seth Curry.
Seth Curry's starting to look really forming into his own. So I like what I see from Seth.
So we knew that the Sixers they were gonna come back and play good basketball. So I'm not worried about them. Number 9, the Chicago Bulls, 5-1. They lost. They had that big win at Boston on Monday. They lost last night at Philly. They play Philly again later this week.
Bulls need to be higher though, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think at 9 was because last week they were at number 10. This week is at number 9. So
I think you move, in my opinion, swap Denver and Chicago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can't rank a team that has 1 loss, the 9th best team. Like they've been running over everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like they've beaten teams that
and they've been really good defensively.
Right, exactly. So I got to give the Bulls credit. Again, I always said, ESPN has a DeMar DeRozan, my God, has been playing.
Yeah, 37
phenomenal.
last night.
Yeah, like 30, like the past 3 straight games or something like that.
Right, exactly. I just think, obviously, I always say
shout out to Jamal. He's right. It takes time for everyone to buy in. Last year they were 5-5. They didn't get to 500. They didn't get to over 500 until like the end of the season. So
that's true. That's true.
It's early. Wait for early.
And Jamal, like I said, it's early. I like I said, I just think the defense is concerning for me with them, because they gave up some of their identity for offense this year. So, but again, it all worked itself out.
Playoffs.
Right, it all worked itself out.
And also, okay, so back to the Bulls. We talked about them earlier in the episode. They got a rough schedule coming up, so we're gonna see how this stretch compels them to the season, and see where they at during the end of the stretch.
Yeah. Yep.
Number 10, Lakers.
Oh boy,
4-3. They won the game Tuesday against Houston, even though they gave us 70 in the first quarter. In the first half, they gave us 70. LeBron, AD saved them again, playing heavy minutes again. Now we're learning that LeBron's gonna be out for the whole week for a abdominal strain. Just gonna put a whole bunch of pressure on Anthony Davis, more minutes, probably after 5.
Oh man, this is not ideal.
And then Frank Vogel. How's the rotation gonna play out?
So
yeah, go ahead, Armani. Go ahead, because I'm about to go off.
Here we go.
Number one, obviously, we both know the defense needs to get better. That's number one. Number two, I feel like Vogel's been getting it. Eric, pretty much what we talked about before we went live. I feel like he's been getting it. What he's shown like since the first 3 games of the season, we all came into the conclusion that the 2 big man lineup doesn't work, especially with Russ on the court. Now that we've been seeing AD, starting and like LeBron sliding down to the 4 and also getting Avery Bradley into the starting lineup, it's been definitely helping the Lakers like flourish more. The ball is moving. There's a lot more 3-point shots, stuff like that. But then, the issue is when like now that Kendrick Nunn is almost on his way back. Taylor Horton-Tucker is on his way back. And LeBron is out the rotation now. Where do the minutes come from? How do they become consistent? Because like for example, Rondo's a guy who can play 2 games in a row. It don't play like the next 3. But when he plays, he's very, very extremely productive. Stop playing DJ. I told you, he did nothing on the net. Hey man, like, and the thing about DJ, sometimes he just looks really, really lost out there, But I'll just say our defense has been very terrible. Like there was times against that Rockets game, we were just looking at each other like what are we doing? Are we playing zone or are we playing man? Like the guys did not know what was going on, and it's just very frustrating to see, But Ernest, you can take it from here, bro. I'm done.
For LeBron, this is the second non-contact injury. In the last 4 seasons, right? This is the second one. I'm afraid we're starting to see
the breakdown.
A little bit of father time, saying, "Hey, LeBron, I'm on my way." I'm not saying he's there yet, but I think he's on his way.
Come outside,
right?
I'm around the corner.
I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm LeBron's trainer, and I don't, I can listen to his body. He knows best about his body. He's the only guy that knows, So I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt, but it is concerning, for me. Listen, so the Lakers have played 45 minutes with LeBron, Russ, and AD on the floor with no center, right? And they are plus 17 in those minutes. Or if you want to break it down like per 100 possessions, they're 15.8 per 100 possessions. It's really impressive, really encouraging, right? The issue is that I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to want to play the 5 or start the game rather as the 5 all year long. And that's the issue, because Frank Vogel consistently puts in DJ as a starting center, which like it stresses me out because he's a terrible defender. He can't guard the pick and roll. He can't guard the perimeter, and he's not a great rebounder. So the fact that the Lakers are not a top 5 rebounding team with starting 2 bigs, and you have LeBron and
mind-boggling, and Anthony Davis.
And
right.
Melo.
And it bothers.
It's
It bothers me a
mind-boggling how
lot.
they're
Yeah,
not.
it bothers me a lot. Now, the injuries, right? We kind of foresaw. We kind of foreseen this. Uh, you know, with the older guys, right? And LeBron is the first to kind of like be the consistent vet that's been injured. And aside from Ariza, but like Wayne Ellington should be playing tonight. He's probable tonight, so hopefully he gets some run in tonight. Because we need to enfold him into the rotation and see what that looks like. Because look, Carmelo Anthony's been playing a lot of heavy minutes, right, and rightfully so. He's averaging damn near 17 points off the bench. He's definitely right now our early running for sixth man of the year. I say him and Tyler Hero are neck and neck for sixth man of the year right now. He's shooting his highest percentage from three from the field. He's been playing really well. But again, my concern is when you're playing Melo so many minutes, the defense is going to take a hit because he's a terrible defender. Oh my God, he's a terrible defender. So I need to see, again, I'm not going to judge this team until everyone is back and healthy. But also my concern is, do we ever get healthy? And if we don't, that's a problem. Right now, I think when those guys come back, you could kind of get away with AD playing the five, right? You can say, all right, their starting five could be AD, Ariza, LeBron, Ariza, Bazemore, and Bradley. And Russ, right? You can do that five, but my only thing is when Russ is in the game, it needs to be one big on the floor, and Vogel needs to understand. I'm glad there's no more Rondo and Russ minutes because
he cut that quick.
Yeah, that was
not going to work. That was
not
going to fly.
Negative.
I don't know why he thought it was.
Yeah, that was just never going to work. When you got Russ driving to the basket and then he kicks it out to Rondo shooting a three. Oh my God, what are you doing? So again, do I agree with them being 10? Maybe. I honestly, I think again Memphis deserves some consideration to be in that conversation. Charlotte also has some consideration to be in the top 10 power rankings consideration. The Lakers right now are, again, we got to get through the injuries and we got to see what the team looks like fully healthy for me to say championship team or not. I just have to see it, man. I got to see it. But right now, they're not looking as well as I thought.
We're not where we need to be. Just put it like that, Like
right.
As a fan, like I'm glad that we're winning games. That does something for my mental health. But I'm pretty sure yours as well too, Ernest. But as far as the stretch of the season, like we want to see them dominate teams because we're looking at the end game. But
right, and we also have to be patient too, right? And also listen, Russell Westbrook's last 6 games, he's averaged 22 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals, shooting 47% from the field. And the Lakers have been 5-1 in that stretch. I get it. The Lakers didn't play anybody that's like, contender worthy, right? To test that theory. But it's a confidence booster. It's a build to kind of get your rhythm for him. And honestly, I think with Braun being out for a week or so, it gives Russ more of an opportunity to learn the offense, be more comfortable with the other guys, because LeBron will fit regardless where you put him. Russ needs to understand the offense a little bit more, get familiar with guys on the court, especially when those guys come back from injury. And again, we'll see. Hopefully, we got Miami very soon. Jeez. Hopefully LeBron is playing in that game, but if not, I chalk it up as an L.
All right, so we got to do rapid fire for the rest of the power rankings, so we'll close up on time. All right, so at number 11, the Dallas Mavericks are 4-2. They got beat up at Miami. They survived San Antonio last night.
Dallas is going to be a playing team the way they're
looking. They're a playing team. I just don't like the way they constructed the offense around Luka Doncic. Same thing. Get the ball to Luka.
And Porzingis is hurt again, so
back issues. And the word is still out on Jason Kidd, but I still think that was not a good hire for they're a mediocre team at best in the West. And
honestly, I think Jason Kidd would have been better off as the Lakers assistant with Russ because of the dynamic and the point guard like wisdom that he can use from Jason Kidd. I'm kind of upset that we lost him just off the strength that we got Russ, and I'm like, damn, Jason would have been perfect on this bench to kind of help him understand the offense a little bit more. So yeah.
Dallas Mavericks at 11. They think they're gonna drop back down to like probably 14 and 15 or even lower. So we'll see how they do. At number 12, the Washington Wizards, surprisingly at 5-1.
They should be higher.
They should be higher than in the list. They lost to the Hawks early this week. They lost to the Raptors last night, so they're 5-3. They kind of impressed me a little bit because they got the depth. The Montrezl Harrell's been balling, averaging like 19 a game.
Yeah, wait till we get to the playoffs.
And then Bradley Beal, he's starting to get his game up the last couple games, 31 and a half for the last 2 games. We'll see how they fare out. They got Memphis and Milwaukee coming up this week, so let's see how they match up against them too. And number 13, the Charlotte Hornets. They were at 5-2 last week. They lost to the Cavaliers at home. They lost at Golden State last night. They're at 5-4. LaMelo Ball, he's balling. Mikal Bridges. No, not what's his name? Bridges. Is it Mikal or Miles Bridges? Miles Bridges.
Yeah, it's Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges. He's making a run for most improved.
He worked on his game.
Yeah, he worked on his game a lot.
Yes,
I really like this game a lot. Him and Melo, they've been hitting off since last year. I think they're still in the middle of the pack of the East. But they're still one of the more dangerous teams in the East. Do not sleep on the Charlotte Hornets because they're gonna cause problems in the East.
No pun intended.
Number 14, the Atlanta Hawks, 3-3 last week. They beat the Wizards Monday. They lost to the Nets last night. Trae Young, another one of those players who's been affected by the new rules. His free throw shootings, something's down. Free throw shootings down. His points are down. They're still in the middle of the pack. We'll see how they fare out. Once the weeks are coming by. But they're still the solid team. They're right there in the East, so we'll see how they fare out. I'm just gonna go through rapid fire because we'll come up on time. Number 15, the Phoenix Suns. Last week, 2-3. They were in danger of losing to the Cavaliers, but they came back and won. They were also on the verge last night of losing to the Pelicans at home, but they came back. And they're 3-3. They got the Rockets tonight. And also they got a major dark cloud over that franchise, or the whole Robert Sarver situation.
Yeah,
to see how they fare out, and we'll see how Monty Williams vows to shit with this organization, with this team. But I think that they're solid enough to avoid those distractions and keep on being solid as they usually are.
Yeah.
Number 16, the Memphis Grizzlies. They were at 3-3 last week. They beat the Denver Nuggets. They're 4-3. John Morant, he went from averaging 19 a game last year to right now averaging 28 points a game this year. Yeah. He's one of the more prolific scorers in the league.
Dylan Brooks has been out,
so they're still missing him. Jaren Jackson Jr. They needed him back ASAP, and he's provided that low post in the presence.
Yeah, but he gotta stop trying to shoot jumpers. Like
there's threes. He needs to stop shooting threes.
Yeah,
plain simple. Stop shooting threes. Other than that, they're solid. They just need to get Dylan Brooks back. They're a solid team. They're one of those teams that you do not want to play you do not want to see them in your bracket because of the John Morant factor. So keep an eye on the Grizzlies. Number 17, the Portland Trailblazers, 3-3 surprisingly. They lost at Philly. They lost at Cleveland this past week. They're at home versus Indiana, home versus the Lakers. They're Jekyll and Hyde. They're up and down team. The record shows it. They're right down there 3-5. Dame Willis gone up to a slow start, but CJ McCollum has gotten them on the even kill. But still, they still need more help. I know Chauncey's trying to figure out some things, trying to implement his system. That's what's That's why they're having a game to a slow start, but they're still in the middle of the pack. They're going to be down in the playing tournament. So we'll see how Dame ends up. It gets out of his shooting slump. Number 18, the Toronto Raptors. They're 4-3 last week. They had 2 impressive road wins early this week at the Knicks, at the Wizards. Scotty, they did it without Scottie Barnes for the last couple games. He's coming back. OG Anunoby, he had 32 his previous game. And also their defense is up there. So they're 6-3 right now. So they're one of my surprise teams in the East so far. And then right now we're just gonna go through rapid fire. Number 19, the Boston Celtics. Number 20, Sacramento Kings. Number 21, Minnesota Timberwolves. 22, Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 23, LA Clippers. 24, San Antonio Spurs. 25, Indiana Pacers. 26, Houston Rockets. 27, Pelicans. 28, Magic. 29, Pistons. 30, Oklahoma City Thunder. So those are your power rankings for this week.
The Thunder should be a little bit higher because they beat us. The Pistons should be the worst team. The Pistons and the Pelicans should be fighting for 30.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. And
stress. I tell you. Yeah, man. But yeah, so as you know, like guys, we ran over a little bit, all good. Let us know your thoughts on this, man. And let us know what team has impressed you thus far, right? Quick question to you guys: what team has impressed you, Eric?
The Raptors.
Armani?
I'll go with Philly.
Philly. I like that. I'm going to say. I didn't think Golden State was going to be this good, man.
Yeah,
I really didn't think they were going to be this good. And good point, Jamal. A lot of players' shooting percentages are down, especially the free throws, which is weird. The Wilson ball, it could be the Wilson ball. But again, a lot of players' shooters are down, but Carmelo Anthony's shooting is way up. I mean, it's a weird tandem. It's a weird tandem, man. It's a weird tandem. But again, listen.
We figured it out.
A lot of there's gonna be a lot of noise this coming week, obviously. Yes, Sean, we know Miami Heat, they're good. Jesus, we know they are good. We get it.
And they just tipped off against the Celtics right now on NBA TV.
Yeah. That should be a win for them. But yeah, so again, let us know your thoughts, guys. Obviously about the Scottie Pippen drama, Boston Celtics drama, power rankings, most impressive teams, and obviously the disgusting things that Robert Sarver's been doing under his tutelage in Phoenix as the owner. Let us know, man. Join the conversation. And like I said, we're willing to have you guys on very soon. We want to have some guests on to get really, really spicy and really exciting on the show. So,
like a cafeteria debate,
right?
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Debate.
Exactly. So, until next time, tune in. On our all social media handles for episode 8, and we'll let you know the time and place and where, and we may have a guest. So stay tuned.
All right, we're signing off. Until next week, same time, same place. You know where you can catch us. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, we also on the audio podcast, so streaming on Apple, Google Play,
Spotify,
Anchor, Spotify. So please check us out.
We're on everything, guys.
We're on everything. So please subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And share these videos because we're gonna get the algorithms up. We're gonna get the subscriber numbers up. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Real.
Okay. So until next time, till next week, we'll be back.
Happy hooping,
y'all.